Hello, everyone, and welcome to the American Scouser podcast, our Thursday edition. And we have the Thursday gang here. Well, I'm here instead of Gally this week. I'm your host, Timuchin, as always, but we have the gang. Irish Jamie is with us. Jamie, what's happening, man?
Commission, great to be back. Scott, how are you, mate?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. Another Thursday with you guys.
Good times are ahead. There's a lot to get to, actually. For an international break, there's a lot happening. Normally, international breaks, we just at least on Monday's podcast, we just listen to complaints about the international break and nothing else. But let's start with Jamie's Liverpool news in 60 seconds. That will get us going and kind of caught up, and then we'll kind of like go into detail on some things. Jamie, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, mate. So rumors today from none other than Joyce, Mr. Joyce himself. Diaz was said to be in Liverpool today, joining the squad, and a possible debut on the cards against Cardiff. Not only that, in the news recently, we've got LFC and Spurs. Guess there's a first time for everything, topping the table in the Sports Positive Sustainability League. That's the Green League. Thiago is back in full training. That's good news to hear, absolutely. But also the Leeds game, finally got a date for that. It's been rescheduled for the 23rd of February, which does mean we've got 7 games in 22 days, folks, from the 6th to the 27th. But also rumors coming out today that there's supposed to be a preseason friendly in Bangkok with Man United. So that's 2 massive teams out there in the Far East, sure to draw a big crowd.
Yeah, that should be interesting, but it also means, I mean, unless it gets canceled, God knows what's going to happen with COVID. We were talking like before going on air that it was talked about before, and obviously with COVID, it got canceled and stuff. That also means they might not be coming here, which is not cool, but what are you going to do? So unless you were hiding under a rock and did not turn on your computer or anything at all, the biggest news of the day is these 2 guys are meeting each other in the final. Sweet shirt, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, in some way, I want to kind of like talk to you guys about AFCON first. So how much have you guys watched AFCON? I shout out and thanks to our Polish prince, Mateusz, over here. Thanks to him giving me some access. I watched a few more games now. I did not watch any of the initial games, but I watched the last, probably like the 3-4 games that were aired, like the quarterfinals and stuff like that. But Jamie, how much of this tournament have you watched?
Little.
So not much. Scott, how about
All right, next.
So reason I asked you guys is, so I want to get your guys' take on the AFCON. I know because I catch a lot of grief on the Mondays podcast from Gally and Bickler. They're not very big on this thing, and I kind of like try to stick up for it. I think as a tournament, is it like my favorite tournament? No. I think most of us just don't like the timing of it than anything else. Not the tournament itself. I think this was in summer. We would probably sit down and watch every freaking game because we'd be hungry for soccer. There wouldn't be anything else. So we'd probably be watching every game. I think it's just the timing of it and the constant. It's almost like any other international break. And even, when we watched the game today and when I was watching yesterday, I'm more watching to make sure they don't get injured. But a part of me constantly roots for them too. I know there was a lot of talk in the groups about like, hope they get eliminated fast so they come back and stuff like that. But I don't know, part of me wants these guys to succeed because obviously it means a lot to them. And, obviously there are players and we like these guys, so we want them to do well. Scott, what is your take overall on the tournaments, whatever you've caught so far?
Yeah, to mention, I actually was the opposite of you. I watched quite a few games in the group stage. And since the knockout rounds, I've actually haven't managed to watch too many. I do think that the biggest grief that people have with it was what you said, the timing of the tournament. And you likened it to an international break, but at the same time, an international break is just that. It's a break. All of our players go over to their teams, across the world and play their international games, and there's no Liverpool games going on. Meanwhile, they have decided to make an international tournament while all international major competitions are still going on just as scheduled. I have heard word that AFCON is planning on moving their next tournament to the summer. I did read about that, which I think is a great decision for them in terms of their marketing ability to actually have more people watch their games. But yeah, for the sake of, you know, our boys coming back healthy, it has been a little bit strenuous to watch the games, to say the least, especially, you know, no more than Mane getting that, you know, what looked like a pretty bad head injury. Meanwhile, comes back into the semifinal and gets a goal and assist. So, hey, whatever works for him works. But I think that the tournament definitely has the potential to be what we watch the Euros as, what we watch the Copa America as. But it definitely is hard to be so devoted to it when there are Liverpool games going on while it's going.
Yeah, I know. That is one thing I noticed with the tournament, and I don't know if it was always like this. I mean, I watched it in the past. I know, it's a totally different brand of soccer. I mean, whenever you watch these more localized tournaments like Copa America and stuff like that, obviously the styles are different. So what the brand of soccer you're watching is different. And for those of us who watch, if you only watch Premier League, obviously the qualities are much less because, you have the best of every country pretty much in Premier League playing in terms of the players out there, whereas obviously like the player quality goes down as well, so does the play. Anytime you watch these international tournaments, obviously these guys are not used to each other, so you're not going to get the quality you watch from a club team. But are you shocked, Jamie, with the amount of red cards, like the head injuries, like Scott was talking to? I felt it was so much more than, I don't know, like what we regularly watch.
I mean, first of all, I love watching the African nations make it to the World Cups and things like that. Like, I remember great years with Nigeria in the 90s, JJ Okacha, and, fantastic players. And they really do. Like, even, was it in Seoul when they scored the first goal of the World Cup and they done their dance? Like, I just love watching the African Cups. I do love the African nations.
Yeah, I have to read this, but yeah, Boy says, "Am I in the Mario Castle?" You know what, man? I kind of actually like this background, but I wish I was in Mario's Castle. I gotta decorate the back.
Crawl out from behind you. For those listening and not watching, Timuchin's got a great CGI background with just a brick wall, but he does look like he's in Bowser's castle.
Yeah, it does.
But
I would prefer like Zoom or
back to the
something like
African
that, but
nations,
maybe
man.
I'm too old for that. So, Scott, let's talk about a bit of the soccer. So you watched a lot more. Like, what do you make of like the soccer overall? I mean, so you said, for example, next summer, like, or the next one is going to be in summer, let's say, like, would you tune in and watch it only because it's the only soccer on at the moment? Or you were like, hey man, I really like this, I'll watch it again?
I think for sure. Yeah, I would definitely be interested in watching more games, because if there's no other games to contest with me, having my viewership onto the AFCON tournament, then yeah, definitely I'll be watching those games. In terms of the play, you were talking about the different styles, maybe some of these injuries that are coming. These players are passionate, and obviously they want to win, and I think that it's a testament to the tournament's quality and these players that are coming out of Africa and their quality, that they say this is a big trophy. They want to win this trophy. Yes. And Mane and Salah have both come out and said how they really are striving to win this for their country. I think that competitive play comes, and with that competitive play, injuries will happen. What I have been less than impressed with is their officiating abilities. I feel as though a lot of these injuries, a lot of these tackles, and maybe even some red cards that weren't red cards are all down to some we can say unique experiences that we have seen with these refs over the last month.
What I will say is, without trying to get too geopolitical. Like when you're always talking about Africa, you always have to beware of how those countries have been treated. They're so underfunded. They're, you know, they make great players, football talent that you really, it's unmatched in quite a lot of countries. In my own Ireland, you know, if we had half the talent of some of the African nations, it'd be amazing. But I mean, yes, the officiating's been poor. There was the massive travesty where 6 or 9 people died in the crushing, and you know, like we as Liverpool fans know exactly what happens there. You know, it's so yes, they're underfunded, they're underappreciated, and you know, a lot of people are talking about this tournament as being a laughing stock and things like that. You always got to beware of things like that with the African nations, because they've been trampled over. You know, so I think with good officiating, money, a massive influx of money would be great for their stadiums and their people. But yeah, I mean, it's a difficult situation.
One thing I was going to ask you, and as an Irishman, I want to see if you kind of like agree with me, because I was mentioning this to my wife, and I think
Yes,
I feel
Damien
the
Duff
same way.
is the best player in the world. Yes.
With Copa. I feel like the same thing with Copa America. I feel like that tournament and AFCON to players in Africa mean a lot more than the Euros do to a European player. Is that just like an impression I'm getting? Because I feel like you can sense the stress that these guys have. Because I think, you know, they go to Europe, most of them, they play in European clubs and stuff like that. This is their time to come back to their home country, almost like give back a little bit. I don't know if the pressure of that, but I mean, I know, I'm sure like you watch the Euros. I mean, we all probably do. I just feel like watching the games that it does mean a bit more to a player that's in AFCON or Copa America compared to a player in Euro. I'm not saying like the guy in Euro doesn't care. I just see more tension and stress and the weight of the tournament on the players compared to the Euro. Is it just me?
I mean, you strike on a really good question there. Like, and it reminds me, I'm not sure of the author who wrote this, and I'm not even sure of the director, but it's have nation's pride is foolhardy because everybody has it, right? So it's like, oh well, my country's the best. Oh no, my country's the best. You know what I mean? Like, so in that sense, you know, weighing each nation's pride up against each other, never really going to win. But I will say, definitely that you're probably right. The African nations are definitely very proud of being African first and foremost, but you know, then of each and where their countries come. Europeans in general, yes, we are all Europeans, but we're country before continent, whereas Liverpool are club before country, if you know what I mean. So except the Irish. The Irish might be the anomaly to that, and the English too. I don't know. There's a few out there that are very proud to the core, to a fault almost. But yeah, the Africans love their football and they love their tournament. You know, like even Sadio, like Scott was saying, Sadio said that he would give up all his medals to win the AFCON.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Like, and you can kind of almost even during the game today and yesterday. Actually, like I watched Egypt. I think it was like the quarterfinals where I went to overtime and stuff again. Some of the poor play is almost because of the immense pressure. Some of the like the weird decisions are like nobody wants to be the one who failed. So, you know, like there was a moment today was just like, just take the freaking shot. But I felt like they didn't want to take the shot and be the one who missed. And I think that comes with the pressure. But so, Scott, so speaking of international soccer, let's not leave the American out of this and continue.
Thank you.
So on Monday's podcast, I'm usually, when we talk international football, Bickler could not care less and almost like makes a point to not follow the U.S. men's team. Gally constantly goes on rants for the U.S. men's team, and I just suffer regularly with the Turkish national team. So Where do you sit when it comes to international soccer?
on that spectrum.
That's right. I will let you know first and foremost. I will not provide you a galley rant today.
Damn, man.
I am a rant free kind of person. I'll listen before I speak. But if it is my time to shine when it comes to speaking about an international team, I'll be more than happy to explain my opinion on the U.S. men's national team. First and foremost, we are in a very exciting generation for the U.S. men's national team. The amount of quality coming up currently, and even talent that isn't on the team yet because they're too young, is immense. The problem is that U.S. soccer, because we have no foundation to work from before this generation of talent, has no identity and no style of play that you can put players into and expect them to understand what their role is in a game. So we have a bunch of players, for example, our wingers. We can say yesterday's game, we started with Tim Weah and Jordan Morris on either wing of a great talent in Ricardo Pepi at striker. And you watch Tim Weah and Jordan Morris play, and they are completely different styles to the game directly before, where they had Aronson and Christian Pulisic. The fact is that anytime you put a player in, yes, they should be able to exert themselves and show their own talent and show their own creativity, but there needs to be some sort of direction that they are leading to play. And without a strong-willed and determined manager or coach, that leads our players, they won't have that. I will kind of end my opinion on this. I think that our talent is incredible, and they deserve a coach equal or better to that talent. And I think that Greg Berhalter is definitely a roadblock in the U.S. national team developing to what sort of talent we have waiting in the wings.
I think, yeah, I find the Turkish, and I feel actually the US might, despite, soccer being bigger in Turkey, I feel like the young talent is probably a lot deeper here right now because of, what they have access to and stuff like that. Uh, but I think, yeah, both countries, you have great players playing in top leagues, doing well. And this just shows that it's just not a matter of having a good team. It's just not a matter of having a bunch of good players together. You got to be able to have a system that everybody understands their role in and how to play and stuff like that. And it's a bit of I feel like US has this problem too. It's just a bit of like managing of egos as well when it comes to the national team. I mean, we have this in the clubs as well. I mean, some part of the managing is really managing the egos. And I think it's sometimes a bigger deal in national teams because the dude that comes from Chelsea might think, hey, I know more than the dude that's here in Major League Soccer and stuff. You need a coach in that, like the dressing room that's going to kind of tone everybody down, bring everybody level, and bring everybody together under their plan, not their individual plans and stuff like that. But damn, I thought we were gonna get you a good rant out of you too. Okay, well, next time, maybe if I got you right after the Canada game, that was the opportunity.
I will say if we want to bring up the Canada game real quick, I can.
Let me light that fuse for you. Hold on.
Yeah, I can let you know that in terms of our play, right? Again, the talent was there to see. We had talented players on the pitch, but our direction, and when I mean direction, I mean the decisions that are being made repeatedly over and over, the style of play that the players are being told to do was non-existent. The fact that we are going into a World Cup qualifier where basically I can only imagine that Greg Berhalter is sitting in his hotel room throwing darts at the pictures of players as to who he's going to pick his starting lineup that day. Because you have, for example, an excellent, I'd say, from the bottom up, from our keeper to until the striker, I thought were our starters, should be starting for our team. And they play Gyasi Zardes instead of Ricardo Pepi, who I remind you has the most goals, the most assists, the most shots on target, the most shots, and the most expected goals for this U.S. national team during these qualifiers. The five most important decisive factors for a striker, and you leave him on the bench until the 77th minute. And then God knows, once he gets on, we all of a sudden start playing well again. It's decisions like that that just made me kind of, reflect on the fact that, man, we may not make a World Cup again. We have all this talent, but I don't think we won't make it, but the fact is that we have all this talent. We should be blowing away these teams, and we're not. And credit to Canada. Canada has an excellent youth setup. Their players are really, really quality now. They aren't the team that we would blow over all the time. They are a new generation of talent, and they deserve to be where they are right now. But that doesn't mean that we have to stop playing as a nation because we're playing Canada. The U.S. team should be competitive against a team like Canada every game we play against them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. If we went international teams and what they should be doing, I could rant on forever over here, but we'll wait on that. Okay, so Darren says if Salah wins, he will go on to win the Ballon d'Or. So Jamie, we can't win and we can't lose. It feels like when you watch this final on Sunday. Who would you rather have win? And you have to pick one. Don't kind of go in the middle and be like, "Oh, happy for him." Because I've been thinking about this. Like, who am I going to root for? I think I'm going to be happy either way. I'm going to be disappointed and sad for the other one either way. But if you had your pick, who would you give it to and why?
So I have thought about this because it's happening, right? We've got no other choice now.
You probably knew I was going to ask you.
Up until today, it was all conjecture. Now it's actually going to happen. So I have thought about it. And as long as Salah doesn't get injured, I think I can stomach watching him cry one more time. I think we need Mane to win.
Okay.
I won't go that far. I think he's going to come back a different player anyway.
I'm going to backtrack here.
Yeah. Let me step off the gas. I think he's going to come back a different player anyway. But another notch on his bedpost if he gets the AFCON.
How about you, Scott? Who are you deep inside kind of rooting for?
I think my simple answer here would definitely be Salah. Darren brought up that excellent point. I think if Salah wins AFCON, he'll go on to win the Ballon d'Or. And the fact is that that's a very realistic possibility. And we've had a player now who has shown the world time and time again for the last 5 years that he is one of the best in the world. And still, in my opinion, is somehow underappreciated across world football. And I don't know if that's because he's African. I don't know if that's because he plays for Liverpool. Maybe it's a combination of both. But when it comes to a player who's so immensely talented, and I honestly do think deserves every accolade he gets and most accolades he doesn't get, it would definitely be a kick in the teeth to the haters for sure if he goes on. Just another thing, like you said, to add to his belt. And yeah, I would. But that being said, maybe I like a hat trick for both of them. Yeah, we can be happy with that, right?
Yeah, I'll take that.
That's interesting with Mo. I honestly think, I thought about that, and I know, there's been discussion, like you said, is it because he's African? Is it because he's Muslim? Why does he just not get the respect? But I feel like it's just because people are kind of blinded by this stupid Ronaldo Messi thing. Should still have Ronaldo in the conversation with the season United is having. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, can they just go away already so we can actually go back to being objective? I just
And to
feel
still
like there was
have
because if it was just Mo, I would understand it. But like, you know,
Absolutely.
Lewandowski, I mean, there's like so many players getting like screwed over because you know everybody's just fighting over these two guys, which one is better and stuff. Just freaking retire so we can talk about it. I wish one of them was just kind of like, you know, we could just make the call and make them all go away. But I think that's probably the bigger reason. I mean, going back to my question, I do, the part of me does want Mo to win, and that really is the only reason, right? For him to get kind of like maybe more international awards and stuff like that. But I think I want Mane to win. Kind of going back to what Jamie's saying, I think
Come on, Timothy, come on.
psychologically it would be better for him. I think it would mean a lot more to him, kind of like we were talking earlier. He said it because I think it's going to be the first time Senegal wins. And if you listen to our trivia sections, I have baffled the entire crew with this one that Egypt has won this AFCON tournament the most, but then I think it'd be like 7 wins. This will be their 8th.
Wow.
So this will be just another win for them. Whereas for a country like Senegal, it would be the thing. And I feel like Mane in Senegal is a lot more harshly criticized compared to how big of a god Mo is in Egypt. I mean, there was a documentary about Mane, and I was kind of like shocked to hear some of the opinions and what some of like the fans over there were saying. It's kind of like oh, he's over there in Liverpool scoring goals, but when it comes here kind of thing. And I feel like it would mean more to him and bring more to him than it would to Mo. I mean, if people, I don't think Mo needs those awards to kind of know that he is one of the best in the world. And I think we all know if Ronaldo and Messi were out of the equation, that would be a lot more fairly distributed and he would get it. I don't even know why the international, you know, awards and like wins and stuff counts so much when it comes to this. Because I just don't think there's like, I think there's so much more that goes into it. But so BJ is given the odds. So if you're a betting man, 5-4 Senegal. And honestly, having watched the games, I feel like Senegal is a much better team. But you know, Egypt does have the weapons to score. I feel like I know I watched most of the semifinals, and whenever you watch these tournaments, even the World Cup, you don't expect usually the semifinals or finals to be really well played games normally because there's a lot of tension that goes into this. So I'm expecting like an ugly final. But yeah, I think deep inside, I'll be happy and distraught either way. But I think I would rather have Mane win. Darren says it'll obviously be a huge boost to either player that wins, and I think so. And I think why I'm leaning towards Mane, because to me, I think Mane needs that a lot more than Mo does psychologically in terms of morale and confidence and stuff like that. So unless you know something, let's not. Okay, I'm not going to say it on jinx.
I can leave it off with just something interesting, and this isn't to it isn't to go on a bet or who's going to be better, but one thing that I am interested in seeing is they're going to be on the same flank. They'll be attacking on either side of each other, and I think because both have fantastic work rates back, inevitably we're going to see contested balls between the two. I think. And I think it'll just be interesting to see. Obviously, do it every day in practice that fans don't get to see, but I think it'll be exciting to see that as long as neither get injured.
Yeah, it's a dream scenario and a nightmare scenario at the same time. So let's talk about another good scenario over here. We kind of all expected to have a quiet January when it comes to transfer window, but thanks to the Spurs, we've kind of entered into the markets and come out with Luis Diaz. The Carvalho deal, even though it's not official, it almost looks like a done deal, but I don't want to talk too much about it because we've had a lot of done deals that were not done at the very end. So let's talk about the one that is actually done. This dude is here. I think today he was in Liverpool, correct? They were saying like Thursday. Jamie, what do you make of the move and what do you think it says for the future?
It's unbelievably exciting. I mean, we waited all this time. We thought nothing was happening. Small rumors to him months back that we all talked about in our Discord channel, and everybody was like, "Yep, perfect. Summer, he's ours." And we were forced into the move, I guess. But you gotta love Spurs, man. They done all the hard work, got the budget price, and we just came in and matched it. And I mean, fantastic. I mean, the guy, his stats are off the charts. I've been listening to a few different things about him. Listening to you guys and Bickler talking about him, and I'm just really excited. You know, I think he's 25. He's got every attribute that we want. The more and more you hear about this guy, he fits the bill from head to toe. He's a Liverpool player. So, you know, we've got our Portuguese striker. We've got a Colombian that was born in Portugal. We've got uh, we've got the young English kid from Fulham who's also Portuguese. So you know we're turning into we're taking what Wolves are putting down, and
they will be jealous, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, like Darren says, I mean, it wasn't even, we got even a better deal by kind of paying upfront, paying cash upfront, you know, like how people are like, I'm gonna pay cash kind of thing. I mean, helping Porto get out of that deal. And I know there was some talk about like with the Gruitch deal as well, some money owed there and stuff like that. So it definitely turned out well. So Scott, what do you make of it? And like I said, I guess my biggest thing is, do you guys kind of like take this news, and obviously we're all excited, but do you kind of project a little bit in the future in your head and say, this is probably what this means down the road?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, like Jamie said, hit the nail on the head. It's exciting. It shows, you know, some progression in our team. The fact that we are, you know, prepared to put money in for the right player that gives us the best advantage moving forward. Because as sad as it is, our core that won us a Champions League and won us a Premier League will not play forever for us. And it's important to make a direction of where we're going before this ends.
BJ says Tottenham hot mess, right? And yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely we can thank him for that. Go on, Scott.
Yeah. You know, it's great to have the conundrum of, we have all of these great players now. What does that mean? And I think that a lot of fans are a little bit apprehensive on it. They almost say that, you know, this is the goodbye call to Sadio Mane in the summer. I know that him, Firmino, and Salah are all out of contract in 2023 as of right now. I know that, you know, obviously every fan, including myself, is begging to give Salah whatever he wants for him to sign a new contract, but kind of contract talks for the other two superstars really have gone under the radar. And I would like to think that just because we've signed Diaz, who definitely fits the bill, checks all the, you know, boxes that we need from a player of his caliber, I would like to think that doesn't spell the end, at least just yet, so abruptly for Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino. I think that it would be beneficial for both them and the club for them to sign some sort of extension on their contract, be able to play with us for another couple years while they have their talent, because it's not like they're done. There's still quality players that are some of the best in the league that will win us titles. And just because we've gotten one fantastic player in does not mean we should immediately be getting rid of another one, because then we're in the situation as fans that we're saying, oh, we need more players. We need more quality players. So I think, you know, it's not a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Fans say, okay, goodbye Mane just because this is it. But if we're all calling for, you know, more depth in our quality, I'm sure the club is as well.
I think part of the, I don't know, like the panic about now everybody's gonna go thing is just people who are against FSG in the first place. So instead of being happy that money is being spent, kind of like how can we spin this good news into something negative? And they're like, you know what that means? They're not signing Mo and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think part of it is that, and the other part is I guess we're gonna see what the roles are gonna be. One thing I liked about having him coming January is, I mean, we know it takes time for us to kind of like for Klopp to have confidence in people and play them regularly and stuff like that. But it will be good to kind of see him on out there first because I don't want to. I mean, there is no guarantee that this guy is gonna be great, right? I mean, so it's because he's going to a different league and everything like that. So it's kind of like a wait and see in terms of how it works. Maybe it will help in terms of like a rotation, give these guys more legs. We know both Mo and Mane want to be out there like 95 minutes a game and never want to come out and stuff like that. But they have to know, and hopefully they'll have good advice that as you age, you want to kind of save those legs a little bit as well. I'm sure they want to admit it and they won't want it. It's not like they're like old or they're like 34, 35 or something like that. But it'll be interesting to see. I think if nothing else, if Luis Diaz performs well, it puts Liverpool in a better bargaining position and better situation either way. You have to get this roster younger. You know, as we all know, I know personally, things don't go as good as you get older. So we just found out today that Scott possibly could be our youngest contributor. So I know the Polish Prince Mateusz is very depressed because he thought he was the youngest. But as I constantly continue to recruit old contributors, so I'm not the oldest. So I think we might have a couple more coming in. So
I thought you were for a second there. I thought you were going to do your best McConaughey. You know the
So let's go back to the game traffic that Jamie was talking about in the beginning of the show, because there's going to be a lot of games coming up. The boys are back, and the first game we start is in the crack of dawn. And if you're out on the West Coast, really more like late night for you, 4 in the morning. It's 6 in the morning for me over here in Chicago. But we start with Cardiff City in the FA Cup, and then on Thursday we take on Leicester City, and then we go to Burnley. And then from there we go to Italy against Inter in the Champions League. I definitely don't like that away at Burnley thing because that's a physical beatdown game whenever it happens because that's what Sean Douche does. They don't play football; they just kick people. So, Jamie, let's start with you. Knowing this traffic, I know Klopp always says we look at the next game and whoever is available, blah blah blah. But I'm not buying that, especially going into this. I hope not. At least I hope that's not how we're doing it. So how do you see like the Sundays lineup? I mean, we have like Thiago kind of starting to practice now. Elliott is in contention, and I don't know if he'll start, but he'll definitely be playing. I mean, we arranged a friendly just so that he would get his legs under him and play during this international break. So what do you think we're going to see in this Cardiff game and then moving on to the Leicester game? But let's start with the Cardiff City game. What do you expect in terms of lineup?
Naby was looking back and looking like a young Adama Traore, all oiled up. Too.
Who?
I don't know if anybody else seen that, but I did.
Who? Yeah. Naby is oiled up?
Naby on his treadmill.
Naby was all oiled
No
up.
offense. Naby is probably just using whatever Adama left on the bottom of the bottle. That should be more than enough for him.
Adama probably breezed past him. just glanced off him a little bit.
Then Naby is more like, you gonna finish that? Yeah, he's back. I mean, that's the one good thing. Like Darren is saying, we have everybody back. Probably going to be the healthiest we've been. Knock on wood. Hopefully, nothing happens in the AFCON final and stuff. These boys come back healthy too. So we will have this, and now we're gonna find out because this is probably. I know we talked about it on Monday. One thing that we do criticize about Klopp a lot when we compare to how, let's say, for example, City and Pep manage the deep squad. So we're going to see a lot of that squad management, and I think there's a lot of quality there. What do you expect? Let's start with the Cardiff game, and then we'll kind of look at it a little bit more. Jamie, shoot your lineup, or at least who you expect to see out there.
Well, I definitely expect to see Diaz for 20 minutes. I expect and want.
Really? Want or expect? Wait. Those are like totally different things.
Well, Jamie's the coach. He wants both.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's
Go hand in hand.
But I think, well, Allison was away on international duty as well. So I expect, I haven't heard anything about his fitness, so I'm assuming he's totally fit. Like Darren said, again, the whole entire squad's back. So I think we go strong, and that's the way Klopp generally does it. You know, he does go strong, even if it's the FA Cup game, even if it's the league game against a lesser side. You know, like we all joke around, like it's all well and good guessing these lineups. Probably throws a spanner in the works. So who knows?
So let me throw a specific name at you then. Elliot. Does he start? Does he play?
Give him 15 after Diaz. Give Diaz the applause, get the crowd warmed up, then give Elliot maybe 5 or 10 at the end.
Really? Okay. And then Thiago?
Well, it might just be a bit early for him too, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree to that. I think that, but I feel like Diaz, let's go with 20 based on how the game is going. But I feel like Elliott, I don't know if he'll start, but I feel like he will get at least one half. I mean, especially since we did that friendly just so that he can get his legs on it. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I think what you said, I agree. They're going to go strong. I do believe that we are going to have a pretty first team lineup in, especially in our defense. I think we're going to have our usual back four in there, as long as Matip's fitness is up to stuff. I think we will have our usual back four. Midfield three is probably where the most decision making has to happen, right? Because you do have Naby coming back from international duty. You have Thiago coming back from injury. You have Harvey coming back from injury. And I think that when it comes to a decision, at least in the beginning, Darren suggests Hendo, Naby, and Fabinho is what I'm thinking for Sunday, and I fully agree. I think that we are going to at least start with a secure midfield three. I think Hendo and Fabinho are definitely going to be starting. And I do think Naby's going to get the start coming back from international break, obviously earlier than Mane and Salah are going to. And the fact that he does look in good fitness, I think he'll get some minutes. But bringing on Harvey Elliott is a must. I mean, being able to kind of integrate him in this first team pace again would be very vital, especially against a team like Cardiff. But all respect to Cardiff, they're not Manchester City. So to be able to ease him into these first team level games and have some sort of really tough competition against men would be great. Would be great for him. Give him 15, 20 minutes and let him do his thing. I think he's fully prepared for the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Cardiff is having an extremely poor season in championship, and they're letting goals on left and right based on stats. I have not seen any of their games. I don't watch as many games from championship, but I guess we're watching a lot of Fulham games. But I think like that's I guess in a way the beauty of the FA Cup. If a team can kind of like really hang in there and not let you score, and then they might try to sneak one in from a set piece or a counter or something like that, especially with the high line we play regardless of who we're playing. Darren's Hendo and Naby Fabinho, I agree with Naby and Hendo. I don't think we see Fabinho out there since he's coming from international duty. And I would not be sure. That's why I don't know if Milner is back in action fully. Or I don't know if you see maybe like Curtis out there and have Hendo as a defensive midfielder. I don't know. That's too much attacking, but Cardiff is just going to sit back. There's not going to be a lot of midfield battle. It's going to be more about opening up a defense. So I feel like having Naby and Curtis out there, and you have Ox too, unless he's playing up top. So it's going to be some interesting choices. Regardless, I'm not gonna get up at 5 in the morning, so I see the lineup. I guess when I get up, set the alarm at 6. I'll find out when I turn the TV on who's out there. But so
I'm
as
just
we kind of
excited
like
for football. It's 2
what was
weeks.
that?
2 weeks. I'm just excited for football. It's been 2 weeks. You could put Carol.
I told you should have been watching freaking AFCON, man. So last piece of business. I mean, before we kind of move on to the other games, and I think it's going to be interesting to see this lineup because I think it will tell us like what's going to happen kind of moving forward. Like seeing this lineup, I think will help us kind of figure out what we're going to see on Thursday, and then that will help us kind of figure out what we'll probably see on Sunday. Like I say, my biggest concern probably is having those two physical games back to back because the Italians are gonna just, if nothing else, they're gonna give you a physical battle, especially in the away game. And Burnley is freaking Burnley. And obviously we have Norwich City afterwards at home, but yeah, it is like a really tight schedule coming up over here. And this is when, I mean, like we were talking earlier, it's good to have the full squad back right on in time so we can kind of, make the best of it. So, last order of business over here. So, we posted this actually a little earlier on our channel. So, and then we can have a little bit of fun with this. So, Robo says the fastest Liverpool player is Joe Gomez. Virgin Mora only getting like honorable mention. This is something that he mentioned in like a recent interview. And we've talked about this before. I know like Joe, like foot speed wise is amazingly, as a center back is like the fastest over there. Are you guys shocked that is the top 3? I was especially shocked to see that Verge is still out there. Or I don't know, that's going by reputation on the interview.
I think that it's a pretty funny banter that we get to see among the players who's the fastest. I think that if you ask Trent or Hendo who the fastest is, they're gonna put their name right on top, right? I maybe Robo's a little bit too humble or a little bit too comical to put his name up there, but I think they're all incredibly privileged in their abilities to run fast. I know we were joking about how who would win a race, and I know that, my time's running fast or done. Let's put it that way. And these guys are still going strong. In terms of Joe, I think that a fully fit Joe over the last couple of years would show fans just how fast he is, but we haven't seen it. So we can take this comment for a grain of salt because for as much as I would like to believe that he probably is up there because he's tall, strong, and has shown time and time again on his recoveries before all these injuries that, yeah, he was fast, but let's see it first.
And I think that's like
if there was a pint of Guinness on the line, I'd beat you all.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
So yeah,
there was a pint of Guinness
about
at the end of that line.
I want to go back to Joe. Let's talk about finish the Joe talk first. Then let's see who's the fastest in this freaking neck of the woods. I'm not going to put my name in there, but Jamie, I mean, obviously that's the most disappointing part of like the unlucky injuries that kids had, because I feel like with his speed and ability, because he's a dude who could play like right back, and obviously he still can. And with Nico gone, I don't know if we will have to call him or we're gonna go to Connor Bradley in those games and stuff. But you would think he would be the one on the bench as a backup for. I guess Milner is always there as a joker card that can go in anywhere. But what do you foresee for Gomez in the future? I mean, he suits the system perfectly with his speed and how he is on the ball and his dribbling and stuff like that. I mean, he is the ideal partner, really, physically, if you look at it. I know we got Konate as well. So what do you kind of project, let's say, with, coming up for Joe here?
There's a few things to address there, right? Is Joe quicker than Verge over 100 yards? Apparently so. Is he quicker with a ball at his feet over 20, 40, 50 yards? Maybe not. I think moving forward with Gomez, I think he is still a fantastic talent. Yes, he's been plagued with niggles and big injuries. Yeah, it's difficult. Time will tell. He's got age on his side.
Mhm.
He's got the best physio, the best help, the best squad behind him. We know the guys get behind people when they're injured. Verge and Joe together were unbeatable when they were injured together. They were urging themselves together. So Matip as well is strangely quick with the ball at his feet. We've
Yeah.
all seen
He's gonna
his
get one of those
lazy
goals, man.
runs.
It's
Um,
brewing.
It is.
yeah, and just one quick thing on Joel Matip. We all love a bit of Joel. I watched the Bezies clip show today, and I found out that Joel Matip's middle name is Andre.
It's very German.
So yeah. So apparently that's going to be the new thing. Everybody's just going to be calling him Andre Matip. Man like Andre. I mean, he's brilliant, but yeah, ball at feet. I want to know who's the quickest. I want to know who's the quickest over 10 yards. I would say probably Mo or Virgil. And then I would say Joe somehow gets neck to neck with Virgil, because I expect Mo's pace to die down after 60 yards. Virgil, I think, is just like the Titanic. I think he's just going to go. Takes him four miles to make a left-hand turn. Yeah, I
I
think
think that's
Joe's.
the shocking thing to me. I think Verge has lost some speed because of the injury. He's not fully back to his like original speed. I mean, that was one thing with Gomez I always felt is, if anything, he kind of relied too much on his speeds.
Sure.
Which kind of like, brings me back to like our next conversation here. But, with his speed, I think he always felt like he can be out of position because he has that speed to make up and get there regardless. So we were talking about this and in our Discord channel with the contributors and, who's fastest and stuff like that. And Scott is playing Mr. Humble now, but I'm pretty positive, and I can pull up a quote over here, that you claimed that you were probably the fastest out of all the American Scouser contributors. I would love to say, hey, 20 years ago, I would take you on or something like that. But even that would be bullshit because I was never fast. So, I mean, that's the thing. I was the complete opposite of freaking Joe Gomez. Like when I play defense, I played libero, which is, maybe after I played it, they freaking made it obsolete. Nobody plays it anymore. After they saw me, they're like, now that this guy is gone, let's never fucking do this again. But so, I had to make sure I was in the right position because I was the complete opposite of Joe. I had to be in the right position because I am not going to get there otherwise.
Look at the fucking comments, BJ.
BJ says he has not run since 87, so at least there's one guy I can definitely beat. That's good news.
So to I guess go against the whole humble beginning that I had. Yeah, I would put myself up there in terms of speed with at least the rest of the contributors out here. One thing that I can say is that I'm a center back too. I definitely have an unorthodox body type when it comes to a soccer player. I look more like a running back in terms of the belly and the shoulders. And I think that at least has some benefit to speed. Now, I can't change direction. You give me a straight line, I'm okay. You tell me to turn, that's where the issues start happening.
Yeah. I'm saying it's the famous motorbike power to weight ratio. Me and Gally with our 15-year-old bodies are greasing. We're slipping past you like Adama Traore running after a bottle of baby oil.
See, I'm guessing that you and Gally with your 15-year-old bodies would start ahead. So if it's a short race, I'll put my money on you guys, but I feel like you guys will wear out like in like 50 feet. So in the long run, I'm thinking
we'll be off at the sideline, have a cigarette.
That's right.
I don't know how
they said, wait a minute, this is 100 meters?
That's what I'm saying. A Polish Prince could be a chance, but I don't know if he wears socks, so he might lose grip.
He can have his running outfit tailored, I'm sure, because we always make fun of him for being tailored. Well, gentlemen, at least the boys are back and we'll get to see them. Maybe we'll do some kind of a race or something like that, a handicap. We have to have some kind of a handicap to like
Something.
golf if we're going to do a speed race. So, like BJ and I at least have a freaking shot at it. Or we'll be the judges sitting at the corner, or we'll give water as you guys are running by or something like that. We'll find a role for every one of them. Darren says the only thing that runs is my nose during allergy season. See, that's always a good excuse I use for not running long distance, but I'm actually working on getting my 3 mile down. More like I'm working on getting my gut down, but it revolves around getting my 3 mile down at the same time. Well, boys, at least the boys are back who can actually run. And I'd rather sit on a Sunday and watch them run than run myself. So we'll be seeing them in action. And hopefully next week when we sit over here, actually by next Thursday, we will be talking the Liverpool-Leicester City game. Hopefully we'll be talking about how we beat up on Leicester this time. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, and thanks a lot to all those. And Darren says, let's not forget. I know we can't forget. I know Darren must be the first thing that Darren says in the morning and the last thing he says at night that we're going to Wembley. And yes, we are. We actually are trying to send a contributor to Wembley. But now that we found out the ticket prices, we're trying to take collections to send our contributor.
There's a GoFundMe.
So we'll see how that goes. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, and thanks a lot to all those listening, commenting. Give a like, give a share, all that good stuff. We'll be back on Monday's podcast with Bickler and Galley's 15-year-old body, and this crew should be back with you guys on Thursday. Take care, guys.
Up the Reds.